Hello there. I thought today I would talk to you a little bit about Medea, who is the central character in my new novel, In No Friend to This House. And she is a character that we know a lot about from antiquity because lots of writers and artists take her on as a subject for assorted reasons. We get a little mention of her at the end of Hesiod's Theogony. We get a poem by Pindar, the fourth Pythian ode, tells a little mini version of the Argonautica, the quest of the Argo for the Golden Fleece. But things really hot up in the 5th century, in 431, when Euripides produces his play Medea. It's an incredibly shocking and explosive version of the myth of Medea. It seems hard for us to know now, because this is by far the most famous version in the modern world. It's performed all the time. It's an incredibly popular play, partly because it's excellent, partly because it's an excellent role for a woman. And at the time it was first performed, it was in a trilogy, as plays in the Dionysia, the tragedy festival, always were. And the trilogy wasn't deemed a particularly successful one. Euripides came third in competition out of 3. But it was an incredibly popular play incredibly quickly. So perhaps the other plays in the trilogy let it down, or perhaps people were just shocked by the innovations to the story, the changes to the story that Euripides made. His play casts a long shadow. By the time we get to the mid-3rd century BCE, I think that's right, Apollonius of Rhodes is writing his Argonautica, his mini-epic poem about the quest of the Argo. It's 4 books long. And you can sense the shadow of Euripides' Medea, although Apollonius's poem is set earlier in the story than the play. It's obviously written, a couple of hundred years later, so he's had a lot of time. The play has obviously had an enormous influence on everyone's thinking since then. We have vase paintings, again, which show scenes from the play. But interestingly, we can also see vase painting of Medea from before the play. So there's a lekithos, a little bottle about 15 centimetres high, so only small, in the British Museum. I don't think it's on display. I guess it may even be just too small and they haven't got cabinet space for everything, I suppose. But it's from the late 6th century, so about 520 or 500 BCE. So this is a black figure vase painting. The background is sort of terracotta colour, orange colour, and the figures painted on it are black. And this shows Medea in profile. We know it's her. These sort of things are always a bit of a risk, who could it be? It's definitely her. I'll tell you how we know. It's got her name on it. So her name is scratched just in front of her face. She's got this fantastically strong nose. Her eyes look really intelligent. She looks, to me anyway, like she is plotting for sure. But she is flanked, crucially, by snakes, and snakes with wide gaping jaws. Snakes absolutely fill this story. There's a giant snake or dragon which guards the Golden Fleece. Medea's grandfather Helios has a chariot which is pulled by snakes or dragons. They don't have wings usually when we see them in art, but they can fly, so you'll have to make your own decision there. And one of the things that's fascinating about Medea is how she changes through these sources, because she has quite a long life within our sources. We meet her as a young girl. She's still a teenager, I guess, probably in Apollonius, when the Argo first arrives in Colchis, modern day Georgia, the far side of the Black Sea, from Greece's perspective, of course, and the very near side of the Black Sea if you're in Georgia. And we see her right the way through in some of our sources to old age. And one of the things that has been most interesting for me about writing No Friend was trying to work out how to follow this character from a teenage period where she's extremely powerful. When we meet her in Apollonius, she's a powerful priestess of Hecate, she's a powerful witch. By the time we meet her at the beginning of Euripides' play, she is devastated, abandoned, homeless, with no one to turn to. How does the first woman go to the second, and what does she do in order to make things a little more survivable for her as her life continues? You'll have to see what I chose the answer to be, because I'm not going to spoil it for you before the book is even out. But thank you for watching, and I'll talk to you again soon. Bye for now.